Why does every generation feel like it's speaking a different language?
We argue about work, faith, and values, but underneath, we're asking the same questions.
From the silent generation to Gen Alpha, we explore what shaped each generation
And what they're still searching for.
It's not about who got it right.
It's about understanding and finding the thread that binds us.
This is the common thread.
Welcome back to The Common Thread. In part 2, we continue our conversation on work, worth, and who we become, exploring how our relationship with work shapes identity, purpose, and the way each generation defines fulfillment. Joined again by Debbi, representing the baby boomer perspective, Teresa bringing the voice of Gen X, and Kenedie sharing insights from Gen Z, this episode asks some deeper questions. Is calling something we discover once or something that evolves over time? Who are we beyond our job titles? And what connects our experiences across generations despite changing workplaces and values? Together, we search for the common thread, the shared human desire to find meaning in what we do and who we are becoming. When work stops defining us the way it used to, many people start asking deeper questions about purpose. When you hear the word calling, what does it mean to you personally?
I think that my calling is to make other people happy and make them laugh and just make everyone's days a little easier, So I think that it can be something easy and simple and just about bringing joy to the world and not being negative and complaining about things all the time,
Absolutely. Debbi?
The calling means, say it's a trait of yours, it's a blessing of yours, just to put that into place to be kind. It's not necessarily my calling, but I just think it's really important to have a calling, a love for people, a love for your community, a love for your country, just to have a calling and to shine that light for others.
I think of my faith when I think of the word calling. So God calls me to many different things depending on the time, the season, who's around me. And I separate it from the word vocation. So to me, God calls me to love others, like Debbi was saying, and shine a light, to be happy and lift others up. So there's a lot of times where I'm called by God to do that in my day-to-day walking. And I know that I can do it because the gifts He's given me equip me. So I never have to fear that I'm not going to be able to do what I'm called to do. Mm-hmm. And it's a natural passion, which I think both ladies have said as we've been talking. So to me, it's really giving back what I've been given to others outwardly. So what I have in me, what has been cultivated in me, grown in me, and developed over time is now getting served out as needed.
Was calling something you were expected to find early or something you discovered over time?
Originally, I thought it was something that you needed to know, like as soon as you were ready to go. And that's kind of why I had to buck the system, because I'm like, who prepared me to do that? My guidance counselor in high school? No, I'm sorry, did not. And, and it was just a different time. And unfortunately, the church didn't prepare me either as well as I thought they would. When you say I'm going to, to learn about these things, about my gifts, and I think it's because we're all human. We're all, at least within that grouping, you're all headed towards how to use what you've been given and born with. Mm-hmm. And so I think we as people just put higher expectations on things. So I definitely discovered it over time. And I really love who I am at this age and as I grow more, because it just gets better. I think it's just getting better.
For me, it was over time. I was just in survival mode to get out of my family's way of life. And that wasn't even anything I thought about was a calling. But as I live life and experience life and all the experiences, bad or good, over time, I know what my calling was. And it was great. So it's okay. Development is okay. Not to be in a rush all the time, but sometimes we do that, all the expectations we put on ourselves. But for me, it was over time.
I think when I was younger, I definitely thought it was a bigger deal and something really big and important and eloquent I had to find out. And then when I got older, I just realized it's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal for me. It's simple, and it's like you were saying before, giving out what you've been given and just putting more good into the world, you know? Just simple and something that you learn as you go.
Do you think calling is one lifelong thing, or does it change with seasons of life? I think we've covered that pretty good.
Yeah,
but if you,
I mean, it could change.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person. You know, I think everyone changes often. But if you have something like I was saying before, when you're younger and you pick something, then yeah, like it would probably change. But if you have a simpler one, I don't think there will ever be a time where I'm like, no, I don't want to make people happy anymore. Like, I don't think that's going to change. That would be really bad if it did. But I don't think it would change too much.
Yeah, I think what Kenedie's saying too resonates with me, because at the core, I feel like we have all talked about some of the same key things that we feel called to do. And that could be as women, as workers, or as just people in general. But it does get shaped into different things based on the seasons that we're in, I feel like, and what the environment is. And I think that's why we have, different stories because of our generations, because there were different, events going on, and the culture was different around us. So.
And in my opinion, I think your calling could change depending on situations. It could stay the same. But the bottom line to me is I feel it depends on God's plan for you and what influences you and what situations, what the season is bringing to you and how you're developing.
And looking back, did your sense of purpose come from clarity or from trial and error?
Clarity. Pretty simple.
I'm the opposite. Go figure. Definitely trial and error for me.
A little bit of both for me, because I always knew, well, not always, but when I got older, I knew my purpose was always to be a mom and to work with children. In fact, I'd like to just explain this and share this with you. My very first job I got, I'm fired as well. And I never took it seriously. I was working on confidence because I feel my life was set up to fail. And I said, I don't have that in me, so that's not going to happen. So I got this job, and what's the worst thing? Failure, to get fired. But I didn't take it that way. And why I got fired, you guys, because my gift is to be a mom and to work with children. And I worked in this church, and the director of the preschool was so mean. And the kids and I loved each other, and we had so much laughter, and it bothered her. And she fired me, put me in the kitchen. Oh. And I can laugh. I love that story now because that's my profession. I have my own small business. I have a preschool. And we can laugh all that we want, and we can learn. And there's no big bad monster director in the back, wanting to hurt me and make me not shine. So your purpose is just really important. And I pray for everybody to know their purpose, because I've known a lot of people in their life, they try to find out their purpose all their life. What is their reason? And if you have faith in God, He'll tell you.
Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
If calling is bigger than any one job, then it raises a bigger question about identity. How closely tied is your sense of identity to what you do for a living?
Not very close at all. I mean, it's, it's fun sometimes. Be like, yeah, like I'm an accountant, I do taxes, whatever. Like people are like, oh, that's so cool, you're so good at math. I'm like, no, not at all, actually. Actually, I suck at math. But this is totally different, and it's fun to tell people about it, but it's not like, I would say I also have another job as a running coach, and I think that one's slightly more tied to my identity. I also work with kids, and I just love showing them that running can be fun and watching them get better and better at it and realize that it helps them in their other sports, and that does bring me a lot of joy. So a little bit like it's tied to my identity in small ways, but not in anything that's really detrimental. If I were to lose either of those things, I have so much more that I love to do and that I tell people about, so much that I spend my time on that isn't work related. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I don't think it's too closely tied.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because my notes say I circled identity and I circled a living and I put close, but I was thinking about it in a different context. So as the conversation has unfolded, I really feel like my identity is what helps me do the jobs that I pick. Mm. It's not like embedded in there, and I take it with me when I go because I also do it naturally in the things, that we like to do when we go out and have big adventures. Like, I like that. I'm going to have big adventures every day.
Good.
But yeah, so when I'm helping and serving at work now, the place I do that might change, but I'm still going to help and serve because otherwise I don't like the job. I can't get down with doing the work and I get bored with it or tired with it, or I don't see any value in it if it's not using those things. So I think I've gotten to that place where I just carry my identity with me everywhere I go, and I look for the work that's going to support those things that I know make me happy, because otherwise it just doesn't work anymore. So maybe that's what I meant when I was saying it's close.
I feel like that's so, like, I really love what you said, though, about using your identity and choosing your work based on that, too, which I feel like I agree with. I also love reading, and so I, had some free time and wanted to work seasonally at Barnes & Noble for a little bit, and it was so fun, to suggest people books that I have read, and it was just, technically, being a bookseller, it was kind of part of my identity, but it was something that I was fine with letting go after the season because it'll always be something that's important to me, which is why I picked the job in the first place,
Yep. I agree with that totally. That's a great description.
I love that.
I wouldn't go as far as saying that your calling is your identity. It's just an important part of you. I think a calling is like a craft you have, a talent you have that you can share with others and just enhance your identity.
If someone took your job title away tomorrow, what would still define you?
Oh, I can't even imagine. It's my purpose. It's my passion. Oh my goodness, what would that do? Can't even imagine. I'm sorry, I can't even imagine. I work so hard. I've been blessed. That's God's plan for me. I can't even imagine.
Now, you're getting ready to retire, are you not?
So I'm just going to serve in a different way. And it definitely will be with children, I'm sure. It will just look different. But you can't take that away from me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's part of you.
That's part of me, and that's his plan for me.
Teresa?
I'm not tied to the job title, kind of like what I was just saying, but the identity piece, the calling that God's put on me, that doesn't change. So to serve and support people of any age group. I mean, I love kids, but I'm serving adults right now with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and I could probably do that forever and have it be everything, because it carries out that mission and that calling, like Debbi, like you were saying, for me. So the title, I've never cared about it because I know that you can influence people and care about people no matter in what capacity you are working, because I've worked in places that, it takes so long to get to like a manager level, and I'm like, why wait? Let's just work and support each other here where we are. And I gained a lot of tools that way. So I never cared whether I was up or down or in the middle because of that. So if the job title went, as long as I could still do what I know I need to do, I'd be okay.
I think for me, my title would still be that I'm an auntie to all my nieces and nephews, and I'm still a runner, and I do the outrigger canoes in the harbor, and I play tennis, and I travel, and I learn new languages. I don't know, a good friend. I feel like there's so many other things that I choose to label myself as before a running coach or a tax preparer or bookseller, whatever it is that I'm doing at the time, you know? There's so much more about me than just that.
Yes. What has helped or challenged you in separating worth from productivity?
First and foremost is my faith. Without having that, and I was a late bloomer, so I did have experiences of working and doing life without God in it. And I went through extreme challenges, during different seasons like we all have. So I think faith for sure challenged me to either put up or shut up. Like either I was going to put this yoke on and understand what it had for me and walk forward and be encouraged by it, or I was just going to rebel and walk the other way. And I spent plenty of time in my life rebelling, so I did choose that in the end, to walk in faith. And then the other thing I think that challenged me to separate my worth from productivity inside of a job or inside of a workplace would be the work environment itself. Because there's so many, it's like a battlefield sometimes, don't you think? You take on a different job, you're a bookseller, or you're, the runner, or you are running a business and you're taking care of, somebody's most precious treasure, right? And all of those are fraught with like these little things, these little explosions of you don't know what. And handling those, I think, kind of gives you your scars, if you want to say it that way, or something to that effect, that allows us to use those for our benefit and for other people's benefits as we move forward in our work life.
I think that it's really a mindset thing for me. Most of the time I'm working full-time during tax season. And so sometimes afterwards, when I am not working full-time anymore, I kind of have a struggle with, like, I'm not being productive. I'm not working 6 days a week anymore. Like, I'm not constantly in front of a screen. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm such a failure at life. And then I just had to be like, okay, I worked really hard for this amount of time, and I did a really good job. I can rest for a little while, and I can be productive in other things that are not strictly work, and I just kind of have to remind myself and be like, okay, like, I can go back to working on learning this language, or I can work on this curriculum for my students. There's so many other things that I can be productive on that aren't necessarily attached to my job title, And so there's so many different forms of productivity. I just have to continue to remind myself that, it's easy to forget. So that's the biggest challenge for me.
For me, I feel I'm blessed to have both at this time of my life. Being a small business owner, I navigate my worth and my productivity because it challenges me. I always want to go to the next level, to be the best I can be for my business and my families and my children. So sometimes a challenge is bring it on for me. And I do it in a positive way, that I can make it even better for my families and my children and for myself. So I just feel it's a blessing. It keeps me going. It keeps me young. It keeps me adventurous. So I don't have any negative about that kind of a challenge in my worth or my productivity, because it's been a long ride for me to get where I'm at.
And what do you admire or struggle to understand about how other generations approach work and identity?
Okay, truthfully, in 2020, my perspective changed so much relating to the youth. I'm a mentor with the colleges, not MiraCosta anymore, but they have trusted in me and invested in me to help the students in child development. Well, it worked out great until COVID. And now, just like Kenedie, you mentioned your generation, And I have a daughter a little older than you. And quite frankly, sometimes, and I'm not saying this to be judgmental, but I'm just so ashamed at all the opportunities they're choosing to give up in their life. No work ethic. And now in my business, I can't even find good help. So I had to make some changes, a challenge that I took it on, and I made it even better. But yet it just makes me so sad at where this generation is, that they don't have like a fight. They don't have a purpose. They just stay home on the computer. You have, what did you call it? The bed
rotting.
The bed rotting. It's
There's
real.
vocabulary for it.
It's real. It's real. I've worked with this youth, and I know what they're capable of it, and they just don't care anymore. And they all have something special that they can give, and it's just not a desire of them. So I'm sorry if I felt like I was being judgmental, but I'm just so hurt and just so concerned.
Kenedie, reaction. Also, would you please share?
Yeah, I definitely understand your issues with my generation and their work ethic. What I will say is I think that a lot of my generation has kind of lost hope. And I agree with you on that, but I think a good amount of them, unfortunately, I'm not saying I agree, but a lot of them do blame the boomer generation for the way that the economy has ended up, you know, and the fact that it's basically an impossibility for anyone in my generation to think about like buying a home, or there's a lot that is really difficult for us in this economy now, you know, even if we work 3 jobs and we have a side business and we don't spend money on like fun things, we're putting everything in, you know, it's really tough to keep up. And I think that it was just a really different world then than it is now. And I still agree with you that it's like, it is a problem because a lot of people just give up entirely, you know, but a lot of us haven't given up. And the unfortunate thing is, even though we haven't, we still know that we don't have the same opportunities that you guys did, you know. We can't just like pull ourselves up and work really, really hard and buy a home by the beach, you know. It's not an opportunity, and that's fine, like it's okay. It's just something I try to explain sometimes to my family members that are older too. It's like, I can't think about getting married and having a kid right now. I don't have the money for that. You know, it's like my parents by my age had 2 kids already. They were married, had 2 kids. You know, it's like I can't imagine having a house. I can't imagine supporting another person. Like I work hard and I can't afford that, you know. Maybe if I lived in Ohio or something, it could be a possibility. But even then, you know, the minimum wage is so much lower there, and people my age are having the same problems there. And so it's sad to me as well, but I do have pity and I understand why a lot just feel like there's no hope, you know? So I agree with what you're saying, but I just have to advocate a little bit for my group, you know, just that we're in a tough spot politically and economically, you know, so it's hard for us.
And I thank you for that challenge, and I'm just really proud of myself that I worked 2 jobs for 10 years because I wasn't going to let my family, that generation, stop me from my hope.
Right.
And to have a house. Now, I'm not ever going to have a house on the beach, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
But I never had a home growing up in my childhood. So owning a home, you have no idea. But if I got that no hope attitude, now in California, I understand that. I just wish the generation would have more hope, and maybe you do have to work 2 jobs. I did it, and I was never resentful. I just said, I am not going to live like that. My family didn't have anything, and I didn't blame them. But I had God that gave me the courage and the determination that the hard work will pay off.
Right.
And I hope it will change, because you can't let the blame or the circumstances stop you.
Right.
Because
of
what's
course.
the other side? You could achieve everything that you want.
And
Not at the beach. Not at the beach.
I know. It's just, with my generation listens to each other on social media and stuff, and so it's you hear one thing and you listen and that's what you believe, and so even if we will mention things like that, to our peers and other people, and it's like, well, maybe you have a silver spoon, whatever, but it'll never work for me, and it's slightly a victim mentality. I agree with you on that, but it's something that is unfortunate, and it is what it is. There's a lot of things that a lot of people, we can't change their mind. They're going to blame other people for their problems, and in some cases they will be right, but I agree with you that there are ways that you can dig yourself out of the ditch that you've been born in.
I want the best for you guys. I want the best for you. You can do it. You'll just look to it.
Yeah.
Then your dream.
Right.
Okay, thank you guys for that was a whole commentary. Now I'm like listening to the story, trying to think about, okay, so how do I feel about all that? I see how my experiences of my generation and what we dealt with during the time has affected my parenting. I'll say that. My parenting affected my kids, who are just slightly younger than you, I think, in the next generation down. What
Gen Alpha?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Yeah.
2001, right?
Oh, that's Gen Z.
Oh.
I'm 2002.
Okay, well then it's my son, 2005. He's down there in the next
I think
one,
he's
right?
still Gen Z too, actually.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that Gen Z is until like
2012 or
20,
something.
like maybe, or like 2011 or 20.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're still all Gen Z with me.
Okay. Well, then I've been learning a lot. How about that? About Gen Z. But what I tend to see around our table is that my parenting affected the way they have seen the world and the things that they now take in. Like you're talking about, the whole vocabulary of like bed rot and all of the different things that separates us, right? So if I want to know you, I want to know that vocabulary. So I'm like, oh, there's a word for that. Okay.
Right.
But what that tells me is that you are viewing, or the generation is viewing, the things that Debbie and I see and automatically go back to our childhood and our upbringing. You guys are seeing slightly differently, right? Because of what's now in front of you. And so I have to admire it, because I've heard so many stories, and I work in HR now. So I do have opinions about this generation and their work ethic. I do. But I do think it's not outside of the realm that we created some of that. We created that because of the way we grew up and then expressed ourselves in the work world. There's no way I would have ever stayed and retired at Phil's shoes back in the day. Not going to do that, right? But my parents couldn't think of another way to do that. So, they started walking to work, right? And then in my generation, I'm driving the car to work. And in the next generation, if I've parented them and given them, they might be driving a Cadillac to work. I don't know if you've ever heard this on social media. And then the next story is, the great-grandchild will come. So my children's children will come and they'll be walking again, because it's a cyclical thing that we create. And it's just about those experiences during this set of time. And I feel like you guys are reacting to that. And I admire the fact that you're going to have barriers that you address now, but you're going to also have barriers as you continue to age and grow and develop this world into whatever it's going to be for you and your kids, or your lack of kids, right? Like we were talking about. Maybe you don't have all the money to live on the, at the beach house. Like we wouldn't be staying in California. I'd be back living somewhere else in an economy that we could afford. So I admire the fact that you are taking your turn in the work world. I could give you a few tips about, calling in sick instead of, or, just funny, that's just funny HR humor. But overall, I think that, you guys are going to learn the same way we learned. It's just what you're experiencing is going to be different based on what we've done. So I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Great discussion, guys. As we wrap up, I want to zoom out and look at what connects us across these differences. Who or what told you who you were supposed to be?
Never had a discussion from a parent, a grandparent, only mentors. And I just had something whispering. And when I received my faith, I knew who was whispering. Mm-hmm. It was God. Mm-hmm.
I think I wouldn't say both my parents. I'd probably say my mom had a lot. She was a super good listener, and she was like my number one fan. So if I wanted to, one time I wanted to be a cosmetologist, and she was like, okay. My dad said, no, you're going to college. And I said, okay. But yeah, so a lot of that come from her.
My parents always told me that I could do and be whatever I wanted to be. My dad always told me I was going to be the president, and I said, absolutely not. I would hate that. I would be the worst president ever. I would make so many laws that everyone would hate. It would be terrible. So, yeah, they always told me I could do whatever. I think that so much of what I've seen in, like, social media and in just, like, society in general, movies, media, whatever it is, I think a lot of that is very much like, you need to be a wife and a mother right away, And I think that that's something that I do want to do, but it does bum me out that that's kind of the main thing that little girls and women are told, I mean, they're marketed baby dolls when they're a little kid, It's like they have to be taking care of and nurturing something when they're supposed to be being taken care of and nurtured, Mm-hmm. And so that makes me a little sad that, like, I'd listen to my parents, but I knew in reality, like, that's what society wanted me to be. Like, that's where a lot of people would think that my value comes from, Mm-hmm. And so that was one of those things where it's like, I need to not listen to what the world is telling me and listen to my parents telling me that I can do whatever I want to do, Mm-hmm. And whatever God's telling me that I can do. And that's anything I want and anything that is bringing more good into the world. And maybe one day that will be being a wife and mother, but it doesn't have to be for everybody, and it doesn't have to be on a certain timetable. And I think that's what's important to know, too.
Mm. What do you wish you had known earlier about work and identity?
Honestly, I feel like my parents told me everything I needed to know. Mm. I don't think that I really had to change my idea of anything. Honestly, I'm glad that I didn't go straight to a 4-year college right after school, because I didn't know what I want to do. And honestly, I mean, I kind of know now, and it's not really the norm, but what I know now is that I don't want to do one thing for the rest of my life. I want to have a lot of different experiences and make money in a lot of different fun ways, the things that come to mind, and I appreciate them telling me that college would have been they told all my brothers and sisters, like, they were like, you guys don't do that, like, it's not important. My dad started his own business, never went to college, and neither did my mom, and I think it's really cool when people do, and I love going to my friends' college graduations and cheering them on. It's an amazing accomplishment, but it just wasn't the right thing for me, and I'm pretty happy about that. So nothing for me is like I wish I knew this, because I'm not in a ton of debt right now, so I'm pretty happy about that.
I'd be happy about that, too.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I don't know. I would wish away the whole, you got to go to college, to be successful or to be who you are. And I would have wanted to have a counselor or a guidance person or a mentor, because my parents only knew one thing, and they drove that home. So I wish there was some outside influence that could have shared with me the other opportunities available. And at the time, obviously we didn't have the opportunities that you are looking at, Kenedie, but I'm sure there were a few, right? There mm-hmm. could have been, somebody could have said, hey, you can go out and sell some things for yourself, or if you want to be a cosmetologist, just go be a cosmetologist. It's not a forever deal. I wish I would have had some more voices talking to me about what work could be. And I feel like I purposefully laid out. I got my AA degree, but I laid out of going to get my bachelor's because I refused to spend another dime of my parents' money and not know what I wanted to do. It drove me nuts. And I just finished my bachelor's degree last August.
Congrats.
So, yes, but to me it meant so much more because I was doing it on my terms. So I felt like, okay, this was me expressing myself back out into the world about what I think about education, about work, kind of sending my thoughts out there. And I really learned way more than I think I would have ever learned had I gone like right out of high school. So I can appreciate that viewpoint too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
For me, would be vocational, trade school. Talk about college, warn them. In my generation, the first thing you did when you had a baby was start a college fund. I had no idea it was the devil's den, none. Stay close to your family, make that your focus instead of the social media. It's very hypnotic. Be kind, honest, and trustworthy, and don't let anybody sway you in a direction that would jeopardize your identity, who you are. And that's hard right now. I know that, but stay close to your family and good friends and to God.
What advice would you offer someone from another generation about finding meaning in their work? Anything?
You got that one, Kenedie. Go ahead.
Advice for another generation, I guess, would be try your best not to live to work. And it's important to work to live instead of the other way around.
I agree with her 100%.
Me too.
We have an agreement.
Well, lovely.
Yes. Just like with my, I've been on this journey. Don't live to eat, just eat to live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. For me, in my profession, is go out and advocate for our children. Right now, we're in such a sad situation with children. They're our future. Love them. Work hard for them. Just make that a fight for your calling, and just be proud of who you are and make them proud of who they are and that they feel wanted and loved. They're our future, and they're so worth the investment. Like you talked a lot about money, investment. Invest in yourself and your family and your children. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to continue to make our world great again. Right now we're going through life, that's how it is, but that to me is the greatest investment we can get.
In one sentence, what is the common thread we share when it comes to work, calling, and identity?
One sentence would be, we all just want to bring more good into the world, whether that's through our work or through our hobbies or through our family, whatever it is. It's just important that we leave the world a better place than the way we found it.
She has such great answers.
She does.
I love her. Does she give you hope? I came in here about this generation. Oh my God.
I think just to add on that, we are more than our work. Our identity is outside of what we do on the daily. It's what we're giving back from the work, from the investments that we make into people, into our families, and that will give us the best return.
Mine is find volunteer opportunities and find your interests. Care about your community. If you're not tied to what you want to do and be in this world, number one, be the change. But also, once you get involved in a community and you volunteer, you get to learn what's out there. So my advice would be to serve others, study hard, keep on track, pray on everything, and do not let negative influences steer you away from your goals, and just do what's right.
Thank you, Debbi. Thank you all for doing this today. I really value what you were talking about today, and I think we had a really good discussion, so thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Of course.
For having us.
Our jobs may look different, our paths may unfold at different speeds, but the search for purpose is something we all share. That's the common thread. on the next episode of The Common Thread.
I wonder if your generation is the last one to have Saturday morning cartoons as an actual thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be very curious about
Yeah,
that.
because now it's straight to like, all right, like on YouTube. Like I don't need to wait on a certain time.
No.
Or cable or anything like that. Like you can just
call it up and you've got it.
Go to your streaming site and then it's right there. Right. So yeah, that's an interesting thought because, you know, you had to choose.
Right.
Grandma, you had to choose which one you're going to spend time on. And now I would say, like, for all of us today, but especially even kids, you know, they have so many options. It's almost like you're spending half an hour just looking through to figure out what you want to actually do.
Mm-hmm.
This has been The Common Thread, a podcast produced by Hidden Treasure Productions. New episodes will be out every other week, wherever you listen to your podcast, including our website, hiddentreasureproductions.org. Thank you for listening. We hope you join us for the next episode.